So, you want to play RPGs, huh? But you're not really sure how it works? Well, that's what we're here for today. This is an introduction to role-playing games, specifically tabletop role-playing games, for absolute beginners. The fantasy genre has been the core of most RPGs pretty much since its inception. So naturally, we'll be discussing that as kind of a base for the entire topic, but we will discuss different genres such as sci-fi, horror, etc. For those who don't know, the purpose of a role-playing game is to take on the persona of a specific character that you create and just role-play their lives throughout the game. One player specifically takes on the role as the game master or dungeon master. Each game has its own terminology for that specific role, but the general gist is that player will set the stage, provide the world that you will be playing in. He will play the character. Every character that is not a player character will be played by the game master. It is the game master's job to referee. In short, he or she is the arbiter of the rules and controller of the world. Now, as far as the players go, you're going to find there's a general list of archetypes in each game that are available to play, that you can use to build on to create the character that you're looking for. This is in most class-based games. Some games have no classes at all. Some games you free build your character from the ground up, and you continue to do that as you play. A lot of games you're going to find will be class-based, meaning there's a specific class that you will take that will define your role and the characteristics of that role. You will also find a somewhat standard list of races or ancestries that you'll be able to choose from, such as humans, elves, dwarves, gnomes, halflings. You get the picture. Now, the advice I give everyone is before you even open a book, crack a book, pick up a pencil, is to come up with an idea of the type of character you want to play. Come up with a concept. Are you an aging veteran warrior who's past his prime, but finds a reason to pick up the sword again? Are you a young wizard who's just discovered magic and all the possibilities and all the doors it's just opened for you? Are you a cleric who is tired of sitting in the temple while evil runs rampant beyond its walls? In my opinion, the character concept is the most important aspect of a character, and it will help you greatly if that character concept is decided before you ever put pencil to paper or roll any dice for stats. Speaking of dice, that's also a very important part of the game, as well as everything else that you will need to play. So, assuming that you're actually sitting down at a table with your friends to play, and digital assets aside, things you're going to need include a set of polyhedral dice, which includes a 20-sided die, 12-sided die, a 10-sided die, an 8-sided die, a 6-sided die, and a 4-sided die. Oftentimes, if you buy your dice in a set, they will include all of those dice plus an extra d10, which is the 10-sided die, in case there's any types of percentage rolls you need to make during the game. You will also need a character sheet to record your character's stats, equipment, etc. That can be a standard character sheet from the game. Most games come with character sheets specific to their games that you can simply print off. Or you can do it like we did in the old days and just create your own character sheet on a piece of paper. You'll probably want to have some form of notebook or scratch paper in case you want to make notes, do some math on the side, keep tabs on your hit points, things of that nature. You definitely need a pencil or two. And I would definitely recommend using a pencil, not a pen, simply because pencil erases, pen doesn't for the most part. And these games usually involve a lot of erasing and rewriting and erasing and rewriting. Now, besides the basics, it's definitely good for each player to have their own copy of the rulebook of whatever game you're playing. Game tables can get pretty hectic sometimes, and it definitely helps if everybody has their own copy of the books to go through. If you're sharing one book between the GM and all the players, that can create serious problems at the table and slow down the game dramatically. Generally speaking, that's pretty much all you physically need to sit down and have a good game, but a few more things you want to bring with you. Start with a good attitude. That means remembering that you're not the only player there. Everybody has their own character that they want to progress and see succeed and have a little time in the spotlight. Keep it friendly, keep it fun, and try not to get too annoyed over the little things. If there's a rules dispute, make your case to the game master and let them decide. That's a key part of their job, after all. You also want to bring with you your imagination. Now, a lot of games will have visual tools They'll have maps, they'll have miniatures you can use to represent your characters. But there is no greater screen to watch your stories play out than the mind's eye. Try to visualize the epic battles, the dirty streets that you're roaming through, the nagging shopkeep trying to draw you into his store. And above all, try to be respectful and pay attention. We all understand that life doesn't go on hold when you sit down at the gaming table, but keep in mind, it's not just your time. You are there to share time with all of your friends, to create new adventures and new stories that you're going to be remembering and telling each other and laughing about for years to come. I don't know about you, but I'd much rather be participating and leading the charge to fell the dragon than scrolling through Facebook and missing the climactic ending of the campaign. Now, for all of you aspiring game masters out there who have never run an adventure in a role-playing game, or even played one before, you have a daunting task ahead of you. But don't get too concerned. Chances are, even if you screw up, nobody's gonna know. And as long as everyone's having a good time, that's all that matters. You don't need to know every single rule inside and out. Just make sure you have a good understanding, a good base. Most of the fun comes from the role-playing, not the dice rolls. The entire point of these games is for you and your friends to be able to step out of the monotony of everyday life, enter a world of daring do and mystical wonders, and just have some fun. Finally, as we discussed earlier, there's a whole lot of different genres that role-playing games can take place in. Anything from sci-fi to horror to even romance. You got westerns, post-apocalyptic, zombie invasions. There's all kinds of pretty much anything you can imagine you can set up as a world for a role-playing game. And a lot of times what you will find is the class variations, if it is a class-based game, like we discussed, will still kind of revolve around those standard archetypes: warrior, wizard, priest, and rogue. Now, that's not always the case, and there will be different hybrid type classes, as well as just out of the blue, off the wall, anything you can imagine, really. But those four are generally what you're going to encounter. And I believe that's mainly due to the fact that those archetypes are classic tropes, and you can generate most of the types of characters you want to play from those base archetypes. However, feel free to experiment, to expand, to explore. In D&D, for example, you have the Ranger class, which is kind of a subclass of Fighter, which is a warrior, the base warrior. They're a bit of a hybrid as they incorporate some roguish features as well, but they're the survivalists, they're the trackers, they're the wilderness warriors. You also have paladins, which are more holy warriors, which are also, again, kind of a hybrid of clerics and fighters. So much like choosing a character concept, I would advise you to, before you even get started, buying any kind of game system, or choosing a game system, think about what kind of genre you would like to play in. Think about different movies that you enjoy and what systems might best capture that type of style, that type of environment. Do you want to clash wits with space pirates and avoid the Galactic Authority? Do you want to take the One Ring to Mount Doom? Do you want to be an invulnerable superhero flying high on the winds, looking for villains to bring to justice? Choose the concept for the world you want to escape to, and once there, choose the concept for the character that you would like to represent you in that world. That's pretty much the basics, the absolute basics of playing in a role-playing game. Now, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you will join us for future videos. If you made it this far, thank you very much. Coming videos will include things such as how to handle critical strikes. Are curses too lame, or are they too harsh? And what's going on with magical items these days? Also, you're going to see some animations pop up from time to time on this channel, simply for your enjoyment. So thank you for joining us. Please subscribe and share, and I really hope we'll see you on the next one. May the dice forever roll in your favor.